Hi, my name is Timmy Willis, and thank you for tuning in. You know, Pittsburgh is known for greatness, great sports teams, but also great musicians. And it brings me great pleasure to bring to you national recording artist Carter Carter. How y'all guys doing?
All right,
all right, Tim.
I'm so glad you had a chance to come down and speak with us. You know, we're going to take this journey with you, and I like to get started all the way from the beginning. And I'm going to start with you, Winston. Where was you born?
I'm born in Pittsburgh, born here, right in, I grew up in Homewood
Okay.
area.
And what was that like for you growing up there as a little boy?
Well, you know what? Basically, growing up, I mean, it was fun, back then, because, back then all the kids played in the street, football and stuff. Well, we were finding our roots, which direction we wanted to go. At times that's, I think it would start off like when maybe I was in 5th grade when I first got my instrument. But before that, I always wanted to play something, but I didn't know what I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if I wanted to be a good. I started off I wanted as a drummer because my uncle, he had a majorette marching thing that he used to do.
Okay.
And I, just playing drums. I started off playing street beats.
Yeah.
But I didn't have no drum. I used to practice on his drum.
Yeah.
But basically, then we start going into other directions later on, like in school.
Right.
Elementary school.
Okay. Well, what about you, Chaz? Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Pittsburgh. Grew up in Kedron Street.
Yeah.
On Kedron Street, had fun, a lot of fun. My childhood was riding bikes, like any other kid, running up and down, bragging who's the fastest, running from telephone pole to telephone pole, who was the fastest, and just having a great deal of fun. We used to ride them go-karts back in Homewood. Mount Vernon Street used to be 2 parts, and we used to have, we called Tar Heel. We put them go-karts together and ride down. And everybody who know part of that Homewood era know Tar Heel. We ride down there and just suicide mission. Go through the stop signs, just hope faith no cars coming. But other than that, it was a great time. It was a good time. People, you had to stay out until the street lights come on. Then your mother called you back in the house. But everybody knew each other.
Right. Now, I don't know if everyone tuning in knows this, but y'all gonna know this before we're done, but both of you are accomplished musicians and national recording artists. Now, having said that, Winston, I know you're a guitar player, and you just shared with us that you started out on the drums. But what was it about the guitar that caught your interest, that made you want to play it?
Well, I was in school at Belmar. And my music teacher at that time was Harry Clark.
Okay.
And Harry Clark used to have musicians, like kids, come in performing his music class. And so one day I was walking, I had a restroom break, and I was walking past his class, and I seen these guys in there playing drums and guitar. And one of them, I said, "Oh man, look at that!" I'm looking through the window. I'm supposed to be going to the restroom, but I'm busy looking in the window, And one guy that I really liked and really got me more interested in playing guitar was a guy named David Knowles. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't seen David Knowles since we were kids, but that was one of the guys that got a guitar, and he had a guitar, so I wanted to be around him,
Yeah.
And I used to go down to his house and watch them practice, and I said, "I'm gonna get me one of them." So around Christmas time, I told my dad what I want. I got a guitar for Christmas. I didn't know how to play it.
Yeah, but
I didn't know how to tune it up or anything, but over the years, developed, because I started off playing wrong. I used to lay the guitar in my lap, play with my thumb.
Okay.
They used to say, "Oh," my dad said, "You better pick that thing up if you want to play guitar." But I thought maybe if I'm going to play bass, whatever, I wasn't sure.
Right.
But all I know, I wanted to play something.
Yeah.
And then one day I got the chance to pick that guitar up, and that's what it changed then,
And the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Chaz? I know that you're an accomplished drummer. And so, what was it about the drums that caught your interest? How did the drums come into your life?
Well, the drums, it was like almost a gift, a blessing handed to me. What happened was my brother had a guitar and I was busy playing, and Winston would play, I think Bullfight. He learned how the first song was Bullfight, right? When you would play flat, flat on his lap. I didn't know. But my dad, we all loved James Brown.
Okay.
And I was a James Brown fanatic, everybody was. And my dad actually had a chance to take us to go see James Brown at the Civic Arena. And when I was down there, and he was singing Cold Sweat and all his hit songs. And I started getting up when he was like, get on up, get up, get on up. And everybody was getting up and the music would just drive through my soul. But something about the drummers. And when he had two drummers and he used to play that, that famous beat,
Yeah.
And that caught my ear and I started really liking it. And I said, man, drums. So for Christmas, my dad asked me, I told him I want a set of drums. Christmas came around and I said, Dad, I want some drums. And I wanted to play some drums bad, but I didn't know how to play the drums. So my dad, Christmas, he got up, I ran down, there was drums there. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe my eyes. So one day, I guess my dad was gone off to work and I was practicing and I remember that beat in my head over and over again. So I started practicing on it. And I think my dad thought there was someone else in the house playing drums. And when I was upstairs, I was playing that. And I guess my brother, he was not there at the time. And I was playing and he was saying, he hollered at, Chucky, who's upstairs? And I was playing. And I said, no, it's me, Dad. And he couldn't believe it. So he ran upstairs and I was playing that James Brown beat. And it was like my dad sing the coordination and the timing and everything was there. And I just kept playing it and playing it. Then my brother started playing the guitar. He with his thumb. And then we started playing Bullfight along with, one of the James Brown songs. He can elaborate on it.
Not only that, we used to play Bullfight, Soul Dressing, because it was easy stuff, stuff that was easy,
Right.
But let me say this back to my music class. What inspired me also was a lot of other musicians that were accomplished, like a friend of mine, Joe Lattimore, who's passed on.
Right.
Joe was a good piano player back at an early age. And at the time, I used to watch him and Bobby Yakes perform in the class, and they were good, and that's what made me say, look, when I seen these guys playing, it made me want to play.
Yeah.
And that's it changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point in your life, what was your practice regimen like? I mean, did you start practicing every day? And what did you practice on?
I practiced on anything I could do to make me be a guitar player. I used to go down to my friend's house and the ones that play guitar and ask them, how do you tune this guitar? I used to go up to this is how you tune it. How do I keep it in tune? Because every time you bump it, you come out of tune, and you learn things from other people. You know what I mean? That's what a good friend of mine, Chucky Hogan. He was a guitar player that I admired when I was coming up, and he used to always, at that time, if somebody around here locally that I wanted to be like, that was Chucky Hogan.
Chucky Hogan.
Yeah, Chuck Hogan.
Chuck Hogan.
My man.
And I was really impressed at the time. Was it Alan Smart?
Alan Smart.
Alan Smart. He showed me some little things on the drums.
We used to watch.
We watched them practice.
Now, what did he play with a band?
There was a
Smart.
band, yeah.
Alan Smart.
Was it
the drummer?
Was it Family of Eve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Alan
remember
Smart.
Alan. I know what you mean.
Yeah. See, Alan, he was kind of smooth and swift, and he used to have the certain little chops that I used to sit there and watch.
Good people.
Yeah.
Right.
And he would try to show me a couple little stick roll, different little change on the drums, how to switch up on the beat, starting playing the same thing over and over again. But Alan Smart, I started playing when I was 5 years old.
Okay. So by the time that Alan started showing you things,
Yeah.
I mean, were you practicing every day at that point? Or?
I was practicing every day. I'd come home and practice every day on my drums. I mean, I just got up there. We had upstairs a third floor, and we would set up and practice, and it was just one of them. It was a magical moment, you know. Little that we knew that, you know, our grandfather. I mean, we knew our grandfather played guitar because my mom and dad used to go up in Philadelphia. I mean, go to Philadelphia all the time and watch him perform.
Okay.
And we used to go down. Another guy played bass down the street from. His name was Michael Harvey. He was a good bass player. He
Yeah,
played
Mike
with-
Harvey. Yeah.
He used to play with Al Dell, and we used to look in his basements because him, Al Dell, and them, they used to practice down there.
Yeah.
And I used to remember watching
And
them.
Chris Sullivan
Chris-
on Hermitage.
Well, Chris wasn't with them at the time.
Yeah,
Chris,
no.
Okay.
Michael Harvey was the bass player. He used to practice down Mike's house.
Right.
And I used to go, and sometimes Mike used to let us in.
Uh-huh.
And I had my guitar with me. So, you know, back then during the day, people used to look into the window, look out, see the band's practicing.
Right.
So I used to pretend like I was playing with the band. You know, people look in and say, "Oh, Winston in there playing with them." You know, actually I wasn't. I wasn't playing. I just was faking it. You know what I mean? But they were playing. They were, you know, good then back then. You know. But those are the people that we were around in our community, like in Homewood, grew up. You know,
Right.
we were around a lot of good people.
Yeah, and they had an influence on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Chaz, you
Yeah.
mentioned about your grandfather. So when we come back, would you guys mind telling us about your grandfather? Because you have music is in your family. So
Right.
could you share that with us?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stick and stay. Don't go away. Right here with Carter Carter.
Yeah. Give it up for Eddie Backus Jr., y'all. Mr. Winston Carter. Yeah. you, baby. I wanna roll with you, lady. I wanna rock with you, baby. Come on now. Rockin', rollin', rollin', rock. Making sweet love, don't you ever. I wanna rock with you, baby. I wanna roll with you, lady. I wanna rock with you, baby. Come on, Ronnie. Rockin', rollin', rollin', rock. Making sweet love, don't you ever stop. Come on now. This part, let me hear y'all. Come on. This part, come on now. Oh yeah. We get all of our friends and family out here tonight, jam with us. Come on now. Ronnie, Chucky, Ricky and Ralph and all of them just bring it out. I wanna rock with you, baby. I wanna roll with you, lady. Y'all hear me? I wanna rock with you, baby. Well, all right now, come on. Rockin', rollin', rollin', rock, making sweet love. This time, I wanna rock with you, baby. Ooh, yeah. I wanna roll with you, lady. Come on now, there you go. I wanna rock with you, baby. Ain't you wanna rock, baby? All right now, come on. Rockin', rollin', rollin', rock, making sweet love, don't you ever stop. Go ahead, come on.
For those of you just joining us, so we're here with national recording artist Carter Carter. And before we went to the break, we were talking about the musical heritage in their family. Winston, tell us about your grandfather. He was an accomplished musician as well.
Yeah, my grandfather is Ernest Williams. He was a professional jazz guitarist up in Philadelphia area. He played with everybody from people like James Brown and a lot of jazz artists that's up in that area. Now, I don't know a lot of people who he played with it, but I do know he worked with James Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And he played the fat box guitar. My grandfather was a good guitar player. And I always remember a song that he taught me to play on guitar was Once in My Life.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder song.
Yeah.
And, from this day on, I still play it, And he played around all the clubs. My dad used to go up and see him play in some of the clubs, go to some of the rehearsals with him and stuff like that. But,
The casinos.
He played, but
yeah.
I haven't got a chance to really, I never seen my grandfather perform out.
Right.
But I did see him, watch him practice by himself and show me things that he knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he played a fat box guitar, and that was an influence on me.
Okay. And that's the type of guitar you play now?
Well, that's what most everybody see me. They know I'm a fat box player.
Okay.
But he's not the one who really got me started on a fat box.
Yeah.
There used to be a music store in East Liberty called Tarshish Music Store.
Okay.
And the guitar player Eric Johnson from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Eric said, "Come on, I remember when we had to go down to Eric's house. He had a little Silvertone amp, and we all, he went up to Tarshish and got him a fat box guitar, Ventura, and I wanted one too. So he introduced me to the fat box guitar, Ventura up in Tarshish, but my grandfather was a Gibson player. I couldn't afford a Gibson back then.
Okay.
So that's what. But when I see the pictures with my grandfather and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, this is what I like. And everybody that knows me, to see me, they always know I play a fat box.
Yeah.
Every now I sneak a Strat in every now and then, depending on when I'm playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, your father is also a musician.
Yes.
Well, tell us about that.
My dad was always interested in being a singer. He was a singer. He always liked to sing, but he used to go out and sing in talent shows. And back when in his prime, he used to go out and sing at clubs in Braddock.
Okay.
Back in I'll say back in the 50s and early 60s.
Yeah.
And he used to sing in talent shows. And I remember this one talent show that I seen him singing was in Hazelwood at St. Stephen's.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the band back him. The band backed him up good. And all I can remember, all the girls was hollering at my dad. And they was like, he getting fired up.
Yeah, he's smooth.
Yeah.
Because my dad, and my mom was getting mad because all the girls was hollering at my dad. But I was proud. I was like, oh man, look at my dad. So then he used to do a song called "That Is Why I Love You So." Mm-hmm. That is why, hey, I want the world to know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that kind of like got your fire burning a little bit more when you experienced that, huh?
Right. That there put us on the flame.
Yeah.
You say put gasoline on the flame.
Right.
I mean on the coal and start the fire. That's it.
Right.
Boosh, everything went there.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, what about you, Chaz? Did you play in school at all?
In school, actually, I was a trombone player.
Is that right?
Yeah, in school.
How did that come about?
Oh, wow. Let me see. I was a drummer. I still am a drummer, but drums. But in the third grade, I started playing trombone. I played trombone all the way up to 9th grade. I gave it up in the 9th grade.
Trombone.
Yeah, I used to be in the marching band, and my brother. See, what happened was, they're younger. Some of the nightclubs that I can play in, but the liquor patrol man used to come around and harass my dad and some of the club owners because I was too young to be in there playing. And this is a story with it, another story. But just
another story. Yeah.
Just say this: as we was coming up, and my grandfather Ernest Williams, he always wanted the rhythm section. His problem, and he always was a backup musician for a lot. And I got a chance to see him play in a nightclub in Atlantic City. The reason I was younger, but it was one of them type of clubs that it was a restaurant and at like a dinner club, and my mom and dad was visiting, and I was there with my Uncle Eddie, and my father and my mother was there, and I got a chance to see him perform live.
Okay.
And that was the first time. And when I came back to Pittsburgh, you know, I still was playing, but Winston was already started being established playing already with some of the other guys in the local area. And as I was in school, I was playing, and I started picking up the trombone after that point, you know, and I started learning the trombone. I played, it was in Belmar. I left there, went to South. I started Arlington Middle School. I started playing trombone there. In 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, 8th, and I was in the South High School band, marching band. I used to march up and down the Smithfield Street and all that good stuff. And then I kind of gave it up because it used to split my lip all the time.
That's what I was going to
Yeah,
ask
and I
you.
didn't like
Something
it.
happened
Yeah,
that
it
you
was
quit
split
playing
my,
in
yeah,
ninth grade.
I didn't like that, you know, going around with a split lip and chapstick all the time.
Well, you figure by the time you're in 9th grade, man, you noticing girls and
Yeah.
stuff, and walking around with a split lip wasn't too cool.
Plus, I knew that the trombone was something that it was an instrument I learned to play because Miss Wise, my school teacher, she used to say, "Let me see your hand. Let me see your lips. Hold your arm out." She said, "Okay, trombone player."
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and I wanted to continue to learn how to read and play music on my drums.
Right.
But at the time, music teachers used to give you the instruments they think you should play.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
right. You're right. And my music teacher tried that with me,
Yeah.
but I stood down, man.
Yeah.
They tried to put me on cello.
Oh yeah, they,
And drums, man. Or
Yeah.
I'm quitting. You know what I mean? So
yeah, we went on and I played, but I switched back over to drums in Peabody High School. And
Okay.
Mr. Singer, Zurowski.
Yeah.
I said Mr. Singer was my music teacher in South High School, and then I ended up at Peabody. And the reason for so many schools, because my dad had his own cleaning business, and we was moving around from
Okay.
different areas. He was a businessman, you know, and so we was just moving in different directions, and I ended up in this school and then that school.
Right.
But in Peabody, I started playing back my drums with Mr. Zurowski, with Cecil Brooks and myself, and then and we used to play over Sister Francis Ozenham strings.
Ozenham strings.
Yeah, so
Well,
I
what was
started
that
there.
experience like for you? I mean, what kind of stuff were you guys playing?
Well, we was playing rock around the clock,
Oh, yeah.
big band stuff.
Big
you know,
band
yeah,
stuff?
swing. We would play different, you know, orchestrated. Dr. Francis, or Sister Francis. She used to, you know, do Earth, Wind, and Fire arrangements.
Oh,
and
is that right?
We used to do some different. I mean, I'm trying to think. It was all kind of different type of music that she used to incorporate. She was known for that,
Yeah.
taking a contemporary song or an urban, you know, R&B song and combining it and giving her flavor.
Yeah,
to it.
she was known for that.
Yeah, she was
Ozenham
known. Yeah,
strings.
the Ozenham. So I started playing there, and then everybody went off, you know, the direction.
Right.
But
right,
you know,
right.
but that's not exactly how we started, you know, playing, you know, coming together. You know,
Right,
that's just
right.
some of the spices that was put into our life before
Right.
we came together. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about you, Winston? Did you play in school when you was in school at all?
At Westinghouse, I was playing in talent shows with the other musicians and stuff.
Okay.
I played in school, and at times I didn't play guitar. I was a drummer. You know, I played. You know, they needed a drummer. I played the drums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, it was something. But I mean, I had the chance to play guitar and drum. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
what that I did at Westinghouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you guys, you're out of high school.
No, we gotta go back now.
We gotta go back.
Yeah, we gotta go back. This
Okay.
is the story of the Carter brothers.
Come on.
Okay, Winston and myself, we started playing together as we was growing as musicians. Winston was playing the lap, and then I was playing. He was with Dr. Clark, and I was in kindergarten. So Dr. Clark used to hear us play, and I mean, Winston would go and watch Dr. Clark, but he heard that we was playing, musicians, and he heard that I was a drummer. So he used to come down to kindergarten, and he asked me, can I get my drums set up and come up to his room, and he wanted to hear me play the drums. He used to be a karate instructor. He used to chop boards in half, 2x4s in his room. I don't know if it was intimidation tactic, but no one would cut up in his class.
Right.
But he came down in kindergarten one day, or first grade. I think it was when I was going to the first grade, and he asked, "Could I bring my set to school and set up in his classroom?" And I had to ask my dad. So I came down there and I played. He had a guy named Brian Matthews there, some other drummers, and I was the youngest one there. I think they was in 5th and 6th grade, and I was going to the first grade.
Right.
So I set my drums up and I started playing a solo. He was so impressed, and he said, "Well, wait a minute, you got." He stopped playing. He brought all these people into the classroom, teachers, and he told me to do another drum solo. And I started playing. Then that's it. And from that time, we got together, and my dad entered us into a talent show.
Yeah, we were
Belmar.
at Belmar, a talent show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So-
you know, and well, let me say this about Mr. Clark real quick. So
Yeah.
Mr. Clark was a karate guy. He made us all believe that we could chop 2x4s.
Didn't have
You know, we like that. Like
hands
this.
be swollen
Hands be
down.
swollen up, you know what I mean? We should pull branches off the tree like this, because Mr. Clark did teach you how to hit it a certain way
Yeah.
Right.
and get that real nice and hard right there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, Mr. Clark was one of the best music teachers and persons that
He had a
the
vision.
opportunity that you said that changed our lives so far as in music. And I used to watch Mr. Clark would, you know, play trumpet, he played piano, and he used to bring other musicians into our school, drummers and stuff, to perform. I forgot some of their names, but they were professional drummers, musicians that came in, and you know, and they performed for the students, and it was great.
I think he's Dr. Clark now.
And, oh, it was,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, now he is. But we got a chance to perform our first talent show at Belmar.
Yeah.
And Belmar, we went there, we was nervous, and we played, I believe Bullfight
Was it?
was our first, Bullfight. And, you know, we practiced it so much, we mastered Bullfight.
Yeah.
I mean, back then everybody played bullfight. You know,
Bullfight was the...
you know, that was the
That was the jam.
that was the request.
Yeah,
That was the request. If you didn't know how to play bullfight, you know,
Yeah, you
because,
wasn't no musician.
because you know, once you start playing bullfight, they go to people, they do their dance, they get the bull, the matador, they the king.
Yeah, and the whole, you know, so we did Bullfight at the in the gym.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning the talent show. We won. We came in first place in the talent show, and that was the beginning
Yeah.
of the Carter Brothers. That was
So when that happened, did you guys say you know, this is what we're gonna do?
well, we still didn't know what direction we was going into. At least
But
I
as
did.
far as you guys playing together,
My dad,
because y'all been playing together, man, since since then. So
Yeah.
did you decide that
My
look,
dad
bruh,
kept his
look,
vision.
bruh, me and you, we gonna do this.
Well, we had other support, like our uncle that started playing bass. He came in and started playing with us.
But Eddie
remember
came
that.
in later.
He came in
remember
later
that.
on.
He came in later.
And other ones. And then as we got on, you know, as I got out of high school, and my brother was still, you know, a few
I was
years,
playing sports.
he was playing football, and I got an opportunity to go out and then play with some cats that I heard on the radio. I was like, oh man, you know, I'm here, I'm up in Washington D.C. I got the call. They say, look, we want you to come up here and play. And now you figure I'm a high school guy, and this is Wilson Pickett's band.
Oh wow.
So it was Curtis Pope, George Patterson, Bernard, and I can't remember all the guys' name, but Curtis, the one I was really close to was Curtis Pope and George Patterson. And George Patterson was the music director for the Ozzy Brothers.
Oh.
And they were the band. They were the band. You remember that song called "It's Your Thing"?
Yes, indeed.
But that was them playing on it, you know.
Is that right?
Yeah, and so I got the call. I used to go to D.C. and I practiced with them, and and I'm up here. Oh man, this is great. You know what I mean? Because here's a big horn section. Here's Wilson Pickett, and I'm going out playing with these people and stuff like this, and one of the guys that was in the band that I was playing with was from the Blackbirds. His name was Alan Barnes. Alan Barnes he played on. You remember that song "Walking in Rhythm"?
Yes, indeed.
He was the flute player that played on that.
Okay.
And I mean, he's a saxophone player, but he played the flute solo.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was very impressed because I'm around all these people. I said, oh man, I'm around Sierra Dash, you know, from Patti LaBelle,
Right.
her brother Dash, and I got a chance to be with. I mean, there's a lot of things I can go on. I met so many people through this, through Polka Dem. That's how I got a chance. That's how I met Maurice White.
Okay.
Through them.
Yeah.
Right. And
Well, can I ask you a question? How did they become aware of you?
well, okay, well, my cousin
Pope Shirley.
Shirley, she's passed now.
Mm-hmm.
She was engaged to Curtis Polk, the trumpet player. And when she left West Houston, went to D.C. and took a job, and he became they were girlfriend and boyfriend. And I used to go up and visit them because I had a cousin named Kelvin. He's deceased now, and he used to always come up because he wanted to be a drummer too. And he used to say, "Come on up here, man. We can put our band together," you know. And he worked at the restaurant. There was a nice jazz club in D.C. where Dizzy Gillespie used to play at all the time. And he worked in the restaurant, and he wanted me to come over there. So that's how I got involved being around him. Now, I didn't get the call right away. I was still in the beginner process of learning.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a few years later. They said, "Oh, Winston getting better on that guitar," you know. So I got a chance to go up there, and I'm playing. Oh man, you know, it was great because, you know, back then the musicians, you used to get, it wasn't about the money then. You know, it's like until you get older, then you say, "Hey, I want my money." But,
Right.
But it was more or less about, you know, being around these people. And, you know, it was great because I got a chance to do a lot of great recording with them. They were on Buddha Records at the time.
Okay.
And, I did somewhere you don't know where to start at because there was so many things that's going on. But George Patterson, I'm in the studio with Tom 84. Tom is a Earth, Wind, and Fire horn arrangement.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I got a chance to work with all these people.
Yeah. Now look, your big brother's up here, man. He's up here.
Yeah.
He's up here with the big wigs. Now, when we come back, what was you doing during that period of time? Okay.
All right.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go nowhere. We're here with national recording artist Carter Carter. We'll be right back.
All right.
Let me get my water real quick.
Yeah.
warming up. That's right. Yeah. Are y'all having a good time tonight? Everybody say yeah. Well, all right now, come on. I want y'all to do this right now. I want y'all to get in the groove with us. Come on. Yeah. All right now, I feel you now. Bring me up a little bit, Robbie. Come on now, come on, Charlie. Come on now. Sugar. Come on, Robbie, let me hear you now. Come on. Sugar. members of the band to you. All right? On keyboards, this man been with me for a long, long time. He's like a brother to me. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my main man, Mr. Al Emerson, y'all. Show me a little love, Pittsburgh. Come on. And on bass guitar, one of the hard-working brothers in this city, I want you to put your hands together and give him a big round of applause. This brother's man, my main man, he does everything. Put your hands together and give him a big round of applause. Mr. Ronnie Biggs, y'all. Show me a love, y'all. Come on. And on drums, we have Mr. Dynamite himself. My aggravating pain man, my brother. I want y'all to put your hands together for my brother. This brother got 5 names: Charles, Chucky, Chaz, Carter. Y'all all know him. Put your hands together for my brother, Mr. Charles, Chucky, Chaz, Carter. Y'all, come on. From Cleveland, Ohio. That's right, great, Katie. Where you live right now? You live in Maryland now? He lives in Maryland now, right? But I know Eddie from Cleveland back in the day. I used to go up Maple Heights, see him in the clubs and everything. I always see him and Russell Thompson. They was always going at it. But ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and give this brother a big round of applause. He came all the way in from Maryland today. Mr. Eddie Maxson Jr., y'all. Show him love. Come on, again. Virginia, y'all. Yeah. Give me on that strings there. Make it real soft for me now. Woo. It's all about love. Thank you, yeah. All right now. Come on. Give me drums. Just give me a little bit of drums, Ed. I just want to hear. All right, here we go. Come on. Stop. All right. All right. Ooh. Come on now. Give it to Chuck. All right, Al, give me a little bit of keys boys out. Well, all right, come on now, give it a little more, Al. Now give me a little bit of strings, Al. Give me a little strings now. Okay, come on now. Well, all right now. Now, give me a little thump on that bass, all right? Well, all right now. Now, Eddie, now give me some of that sweet saxophone you got right now. Come on now. Yeah! Yeah! Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah! Well, all right. I see some people I know out here in the audience. My family, Papa Banks, Carol and her husband, Troy. Y'all having a good time with me, so yeah. All right, yeah. Shelly, where you at? You having a good time, Shelly? All right, Shelly, how about Kia? What about you, Simon? You having a good time? Well, all right. Well, all right now. We're going to come on. What about you, Shelly? Al? If you're having a good time, let me see you wave your hand like this. Come on, y'all. Yeah! Come on now. Pittsburgh! Come on now. Yeah! Come on now. Yeah! Come on!
For those of you just joining us, my name is Timmy Willis, and we're here with national recording artist Carter Carter. And before we went to the break, we were talking to Winston. He was telling us about how his experience with recording on Buddha Records. But we asked Chaz a question. While your big brother was up there with all the big national recording artists, so what were you doing?
Well, first of all, I was very proud of my brother. I was bragging about him in school.
I know you were.
Yeah, I was still in school and I was playing football, you know, and running track and playing football and also playing my music. My Uncle Eddie was living with us at the time. We started playing and putting a little band together and just staying up on our chops, bragging about my brother in L.A., you know, meeting Maurice White in the studios. Couldn't wait to hear some of his demos he was recording. I would talk to him on the phone. And I was just pursuing. I was pretty good in sports, and you know, I had a love music and sports. So I kept my brother telling me keep playing, you know, football and keep running. So he always pushed me into sports, and I kept pounding away in football and sports and playing for Morningside Bulldogs. You know,
Did you?
Lincoln Lamar. I started Lincoln Lamar playing. You know.
Okay.
And I was playing at Bell Suver, and then I played for Lincoln Lamar. Played for all the greats in the Westinghouse. We don't die, we multiply. You know, yes, they know what I'm talking about. That's our foundation. But you know, kept it going until we came back, and my brother came back with all his knowledge and experience, and say, hey, he put the family together, and we just started playing again. You know, but I still went off to college and played football. You know, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that's it.
So how long did that situation last for you out in L.A. and
this
Buddha
was
Records and all that? How
it started off in the D.C. area,
right?
Oh, you know, and my man George Patterson, he's passed now, but he told me, he said, if you go out to L.A., I'm gonna give you some friends of my number, and it was Maurice White's in them number, you know. So he said, when you get out there, give him a call. So I did go to California, and I'm like, I don't want to call them because Earth, Wind & Fire was hot then, you know what I mean? They were hot, and I'm like, no. So I called Maurice, and Maurice said, well, and I talked to him. He said, yeah, you know. He said, yeah. He said, I mean, he was very nice. He said, okay. He said, what I'm gonna do for you, I'm out on tour right now. He said, but I'm gonna hook you up with Phil Wright. He said, and Phil Wright, you know, you can work with him until I get back off tour, then we can, you know, do some things. I'm like, oh, okay, this was great, you know. So I hooked up with Phil Wright, which Phil Wright at that time was Nancy Wilson's music director.
Okay.
So Phil said, he called me and said, hey, listen, I'm going in the studio, and Maurice was telling me you write songs. I said, I was a songwriter, and I said, yeah. He said, well, come on over. We're going to Wally Hector Studio. This is one of the top. This is where Donna Summers, Earth, Wind & Fire all record. And he said, come on, and you know, and we're gonna record. I'm like, oh man. Now I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm nervous now. Like, yeah. So, you know, I go all the way out California, and my friend Ronnie, he takes me over. We go to the studio. I never knew who the drummer was. I never knew the bass player. I just met Phil Wright.
Right.
And they all pulled out the charts. They said, here. They gave the drummers. Well, that's the first time I seen drummer, you know, reading the music like this. And they said, all right, man, you know, they start getting levels on everybody. I'm like, oh, man. Because, you know, I'm like, I can read chord charts. So I'm like, okay, man, that chart, I said, I ain't gonna let these guys get me left behind. So they put it down, and I went right with them. Goosh. Yeah. and the reward I got for it, Phil said, okay, we're gonna do a couple of your songs right now, you know. And they let me record a couple of my songs, and it was great. At the time, he was trying to get me a deal at ABC Records called Dunhill. Was it Dunhill back then? And I was like, oh man! And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes my friend Rose Royce. You know what I mean?
But
this
they
group,
wasn't Rolls Royce at the time.
they wasn't Rolls Royce at that time. They were recording. You know, I lived across the hall from the trumpet player. His name was Fred, and Fred used to say, "All right, we're gonna take Winston. Come on, you know, you can go to practice." I didn't know that they were, you know, Rolls Royce, because they were Edwin Starr's backup band then.
Okay.
And I used to go with them in the studio, where they were recording the Car Wash album. I was there when they recorded the whole Car Wash album.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I used to go up Norman Whitfield's house with them. So I told Norman, I said, "Norman, I can make you some money." And Norman looked at me, he said, yeah. He said, "Well, let me see what you got." So I said, "Okay." I said, "Well," he said, "we're going to have, I'm going to try to hook you up with the Undisputed Truth."
Okay.
And at that time, they had smiling faces,
Right.
but they was going through a change too. They had Chaka Khan's sister singing a Taka Boom.
Okay.
And I said, "Okay," you know. So I went, and there was another guitar player over there, and the group, all the group from Rolls Royce and them was there. They were all supporting me, but the other guitar player kept hitting all these bad chords. Norman thought it was me a little bit, you know. But it wasn't me; it was him.
Right.
Yeah. But I had a great time with them. I had Norman. I had a lot of Norman Whitfield. He opened his doors to me, his home. He let me. I go up his house. You know, I go to his office up in Beverly Hills, and you know, it never was a thing where you stopped at the door. I met Lionel Richie there. I met Stevie Wonder there. You know, and I mean, he left his door open to me, and you know, I'll never forget that, because that was something great. And not only my friends Rolls Royce, they were really great with me, you know what I mean, because there was times in California, I'm sitting there, Earth, Wind, Fire was on the road, boom, you know, and I'm a young guy, I'm running now, I don't want to wait no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the opportunity came where what's his name? Carl Carlton. You remember Carl Carlton? He had a record out, She's a Bad Mama Jamma.
Yeah, she's a bad mamma jamma.
He said, "Why don't you come up and audition? You know, we putting a band together, and you know." And I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to blow. I got Norman Whitfield over here, and I got Maurice White." I'm like, you know, these are the two things I didn't, you know. So I told Carl, "Nah, I don't want to do it," you know. But it was just so much opportunity there, you know, for me and stuff like that. But Maurice did a lot for me, and the main thing, I came back to Pittsburgh, and Maurice called a friend of mine looking for me. They said Maurice White was trying to reach you because he's back in L.A. So Maurice called my dad's house looking for me, and at that time, I wasn't home. You know, I was out and about, and my dad tracked me down. And at that time, I didn't have a phone at where I was at, so I had to go down to a hospital payphone and call Maurice.
Yeah.
And Maurice talked to me and said, "Yeah, you know, we want to do this and stuff, and do some things and stuff." And you know, I'm like, man, I'm here. I'm talking to Maurice on the phone, you know. And I'm asking Maurice, "You used to be drumming with Ramsey Lewis too?" He said, "Yeah, you know." But it was great. I had every phone number you could get to get in touch with Maurice. You know, we didn't have cell phones, you know, back then there. But I had all the numbers, you know, even with Norman Whitfield, you know, I call from his house. He lived up in Beverly Hills, you know, and it was great, you know. And
he was living good there.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, he would always send me something back, you know.
You know, but I think what mainly things what made me at well, I remember when Rolls Royce came to town to Pittsburgh. I was in D.C. I came in town, and they called, and we hooked up, and
Yeah.
I took my brother and my dad to the, you know, they gave us their passes, come on to get on stage.
It was at the
Right.
Stanley.
At the Stanley, and they didn't have their guitar player with them, and the manager was saying, well, man, we knew he was in town. We could have got him to play with y'all.
Right.
You know, they were an excellent band at that time. They were very good.
Yeah.
And Gwen, the lead singer, we used to sit up and watch TV together. You know, Gwen to sing all the hits on the record.
Right.
Yeah, we should watch all the shows together, and
Yeah.
you know, and go to Golden Bird. In Pittsburgh, don't know that there's a chicken place called Golden Bird in California, and we should go get some Golden Bird and stuff like
Golden
that.
Bird.
Yeah, that was
My
good.
brother,
Yeah, it sounds like it's good.
It was good then. I don't know. I
But
don't
the
think-
hospitality down there was awesome.
Yeah.
Food everywhere. I mean, at the Stanley, and that's when we first got a chance to hear Mother Finest.
Yeah,
A group that we never heard
Oh
before.
yeah,
When
love
they came
changes.
down, yeah. Yeah, we got a chance to.
You know, we were. I never forget. We were up in the dressing room
Yeah.
with Rolls Royce and
Duke and Henry.
and they were like, all of a sudden, man, you know, Mother Finest was the opening act.
Yeah.
And they were like, they was doing this song, man, and all of a sudden everybody upstairs
Started
started,
rocking.
oh, can you feel that? Look, listen at these dudes. You know,
Sound
because
came
nobody,
through the floor,
at that
yeah.
time, nobody knew who Mother Finest was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, they
And-
were just coming out.
And they came out
Yeah.
with Love. They did Love Changes.
Yeah, that's
there.
like
Before it was on the radio.
Before it was
Baby
on-
Love
yeah, before-
too. They used to rock that one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we didn't know. That
Yeah.
song came up through the dressing room. Go ahead, Wes.
And they did Love Changes and that there, you know, before it hit the radio.
Right.
But I think about a week or later, or 2 weeks later, it came out on
Hit the
Wham! Started
charts.
playing it.
Uh-huh.
Boom.
Yeah, but all of us, it was feeling so good. We went downstairs. We left the dressing room. Even some of Rolls Royce. We came down. We stand behind stage.
Right.
Start to see this band.
Check
You know, it
them
was
out.
like wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was nice.
Even through this day right now, I still have contact with friends with Rolls Royce and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if I can get on the phone and call them right now, and I remember they came to Youngstown, Ohio, maybe almost about 10 years ago or something like that. And they called me up. Me and my wife went up there to see them perform and stuff like that. But they, you know, it's a little different now because they only brought about three people. They did tracks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but you know, I mean, I had a lot of people rooting for, you know, trying to push my career, and by me being an older brother, I said, well, okay, I'll go out and get it, and then I'm gonna bring my brother into it,
Right.
and that's what I've been doing. That's what I did all life, you know. Now when he got older, he was off to carry his own. We always wanted him to go off to college and you know, do his sports thing and stuff like that, and even in his college, when he was at college, he was playing drums down there, and his football coach, his coach said like, oh man, you gonna play football or you gonna play drums?
You gonna play football? You gonna play the drums?
Is that right?
Yeah, I had my dad send my drums down there because I had Rogers. You know, what I
Right.
mean, I had my drums down there, and that's where I met Gino Spates, his brother. He played with the SOS band.
Okay.
And we and the group Firecracker, and they was all. I used to play the drums and a lot of different bands was down there. We was playing, and it was just a great time. But I had to make a choice. You know, what I mean, he was
Right.
telling me to make a choice. I was torn between that. And that's a bad place to be in when you
Right.
got two lovers. You know,
Right.
it's just like, well, how come I can't do both?
Yeah. Yeah.
At the time.
What did you make the choice?
Well,
At that
injuries made the choice.
Injuries made the choice.
The knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus there was some changes going on. I played at Norfolk State University. There was some changes. Plus, you know, I had made some decisions. You know, I was gonna go to West Virginia. I wanted to play for West Virginia. I went down, but I ended up going to Norfolk State. My coach, you know, he was trying to get me to talk me and going somewhere else. Mr. George Webb, you know, Westinghouse. Yeah. So, but we end up continue to play. You know, I was a music major in school, and then I changed my major because during the time in music, you had to make a decision that you had to play in a marching band, and you had to be there during the football games to march in the band, and it was mandatory for you to play in the marching band, you know, during the football game. So I said, how am I gonna play when I'm playing on the football team, being a marching band, and you get an F or an E automatically, you know? So, and I just couldn't, and I regret at the time I didn't have piano, you know, so I had to start from a non-credit course of learning the piano lessons and learning my chords and trying to, it was just crazy. So I switched the major over, you know, to more the sports physical education, and then we was trying to go from there and play football at the same time. But my brother we was talking, my brother always been supportive, I mean, all my life. When he was out of town, I look up and there was a football game we was playing over at, I think we used to play at Old Dominion Stadium, because Norfolk State didn't have a stadium at the time. We used to play at Old Dominion. And I look up, my brother said, here he come. And my father, my brother, and the bass player, they driving 8 hours or so, or 6.5 hours down all night on the road, just about, and coming. I'm looking up, and I see my brother up there.
Yeah.
Give me a touchdown. You know what I mean? So it was nice. So he always told me to stay. You know, he always told me, I got you. You know,
we didn't have no GPS then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you made it.
You get lost. You get lost.
You lost. So, but I was playing, and I told him, I said, hey, once. But when I was playing with Geno Spates, we was playing, and he's from North Carolina, Chapel Hill at the time, and we used to play. We still keep in touch, and they play with the SOS band, but they're split. There's 2 SOS bands now.
Oh, okay.
So Geno and I would play. We play down at the Holiday Inn. We jam at Student Union. We have a great time, and as we was leaving, I came back home. Geno said, Hey, Chaz, you know, he said, look, my brother got this thing, man. Once you come, he called me to play. And at the time, it was Andre Crouch. You know, I think that's his name, make sure. Yeah, so he was the gospel singer. And he asked me to come, and he said, I got this drumming job for you. And I said, man, I didn't want, you know, at the time, I didn't want to take a risk. I just got on, I didn't want to take that risk to go down there and play.
Right.
But now he's playing, he's on the road, touring, doing all kind of things. We still keep in touch. All these years later, we just got in touch with each other through Facebook.
Okay,
So,
yeah, Facebook, man, connect you up.
Thanks for social media. We got together.
Yeah. Now, after you left college,
Yeah.
did you come back to Pittsburgh?
I did for a little while, and then I end up, we got together, my brother, when he came back, we decided, we've been playing with backing up everybody, and we decided to, my brother always wanted to put a unit together because my father felt that we were strong enough to hold our own.
Right.
You know, and we used to hold our own. And my brother and we would practice. Eddie was able to sing, play keyboards and bass, and he was a show person on stage. And Winston, you know, may I say, Winston was playing rhythm lead and able to sing vocals and able to arrange music, and great songwriter as well. And I was singing, playing the drums, you know, and doing some other things. And we just needed another keyboard. So my brother, you know, we decided together, I think we came back and started putting the groups together and playing all the clubs around Pittsburgh. I mean, we was playing a lot of, we would call it the Chitlin Circuit at the time, and we was playing all the, I mean, you could name
At
it.
that time, we were called a Supreme Court band. We used to go out and things. But eventually, you know,
We was the cabarets back in the day, the Chosen Few.
We used to go out.
Winston Carter Midtown Funk Company.
No, we used to go Whammo, HB. Remember, I don't know if you remember HB, Harold Brown the Burner.
Yeah.
Harold Brown.
Yeah.
He used to go up to Uniontown and the Vets, and he used to bring bands in up there and stuff like that. And we always, we always wanted to get on one of those gigs with Harold Brown because, you know, back then Harold Brown say your name on the radio. We got the Chosen Few band. He get all pumped up.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were going to Harold Brown. Said, okay, I'm gonna give you guys a shot. So we put all the stuff on my dad's car, drums on top and tied it down. We going to Uniontown.
The drummer.
Yeah, got the drums tied down on the outside of the car, and some people pulled up on the side of us and said, "Hey, one of them drums fell off about 5 miles back."
But yeah,
It's bass drum.
I lost my band. I had a Luckwood set.
Oh, man.
My bass drum was gone. I didn't
know
have
what I
no
mean?
bass drum. We couldn't do the
We
gig.
tried to drive back. You know, it was dark, pitch black. It's dark.
Right.
We never found the bass drum. We never made it to the gig, and that burned us with Harold Brown because he figured he didn't advertise on the radio for us.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know,
And we didn't show up.
and we didn't show up.
Yeah, it was crazy, but
I wish I'd have known y'all then, man. Cause
Yeah.
you know I'd have told you to take your floor tom and just lay it down, put that foot cause I had to do that one time.
it was a 3-piece set back then.
Yeah.
It's what seemed like time just
floor
regurgitate back
tom.
to it. You know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's back. Yeah, no, but you know they playing bass, snare.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
tom-tom,
It's funny how you were played back then. You know what I mean? The bass player and the guitar player were playing the same amp together.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know,
yeah.
drum, and if there's another channel open, we'll stick a mic in that channel too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, and put
So but you know, after that, we did all of a sudden, you know, we said, hey, you know what, we start writing our own stuff. Let's try
let's start
something
writing our
that,
music.
you know, we start going into the studio. We used to go up to Jerry's Studios in New Brighton,
yeah,
and record
that's where we
stuff.
met Dawn. I think it's Dawn Gavin or Garvin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don, yeah.
Yeah, Dawn. He was what what was Sweet City?
It's Sweet
Yeah,
Sweet
Sweet
Witty.
City.
That's where Wild Cherry cut their
Yeah,
music.
funky music white boy.
And so we recorded a lot of stuff up there, and then all of a sudden we said, okay. Then we record a record.
It was
my
a Supreme
brother.
Court band still.
And then we decided we're gonna say it. A few years later, we called ourselves Chaz,
Chaz.
and we recorded a record called "I Want to Talk to You."
Well, okay. Now, when we come back,
All right.
would you please tell us about that experience? What was that like for you, writing that song and having that song and hearing that song and all the excitement that it brought to the listeners?
All right.
All right? Ladies and gentlemen, stick and stay, don't go away. We'll be right back with Carter Carter.
Hello, baby. It's so good to see you again. All I want to do is love you, so I can make my
For those of you just joining us, you are missing it. We're here with national recording artist Carter Carter. And before we went to the break, you were getting ready to share with us, this is another segment of your musical lives, a group that you had put together and you called it Chaz.
Right.
And you started writing songs, recording songs, and the songs was being played on the radio. Yes. What was that whole experience like for you?
Well, it was great. You know, we our first single up from Chaz was "I Want to Talk to You," and what we did before we named the group Chaz, we said, well, we know how artists. We didn't want that record companies take the group name and keep it. So we said, we're going to name the group Chaz because we got my brother named Chaz. I said, because they can't take his name.
Right.
So we named the group Chaz. And his name was Charles. And everybody, for Charles, there's Chaz.
Right.
Chucky, So we recorded a song. We went and recorded I Want to Talk to You. And it opened up. I Want to Talk to You did very well for us. It opened a lot of doors for us. We started getting, airplay. And Whammo picked it up, and we started moving up on the charts. And then it went into their top 20 countdown. And
we went high as number 16.
Number 16 on the top 20 countdown.
Yeah.
And it done very well. And then we had what was that?
Was the other songs?
No, I'm just saying, as the songs started climbing, we said, because that was just a single we did first. And then we said, okay, we're going to decide to do an album. And we did the album, and me and my brother, we went in, my brother and I, we went in studio. It was all done locally here in Pittsburgh, but we were getting national airplay at the time, but we didn't have national distribution.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, people were saying, okay, you could, we heard their record in Detroit. We heard it, but we couldn't buy it. You know what I mean? You could hear our songs down in Florida because at that time, Whammo was involved. It had SBN Stars and Eric St. James from the Stars down there. They different combined networks. And we got a lot of airplay and stuff like that. But it opened a lot of doors for us and stuff like that. And that's where from that led to where we are, what we're doing now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. Now the song is being played on the air, but it's not in the music stores because of not having a distribution deal. Now, did you ever look into trying to get a distribution deal or?
Well, we were in a lot, like Pittsburgh, remember the National Record Mart?
Right. We
were all in the local stores here, National Record Marts, and we tried, at the time we were with a Pittsburgh company, and we relied on their leadership.
Okay.
And what they had, because at that time they had artists, they had back in the Vogues, and they had Lou Christie.
Well, let me back up. The Zanzibar label didn't have Lou Christie and the Vogues. Okay. But Nick Cincy, who we were signed with,
right,
he had Lou Christie. He was involved in that and the Vogues back then. When I met Nick Cincy at the Stanley Theater, he was telling me that he had he was involved with Lou Christie and the Vogues back in the day. Nick was a national promoter for Motown Records.
Right.
He got together with, I think it was Pat and Rich Engler, and he had an office down at the Stanley. And I went down to see him one day, but we had recorded a song, I Want to Talk to You, and I went to play it for him. Nick had a little article in the paper that what they was doing, they was starting a label. And this label was looking for acts, but professional recording, the potential. And my dad said this will give us a chance to let somebody who have ears for Motown that be able to hear our talent. And I played it for him, and he didn't say anything at first when I went down there. And then he started smiling. He came out and said, "Hey man, I want to talk to you." So I said, "That's funny because that's the name of our song."
Right.
Yeah. So we went in there, and I was sitting there talking, and then Nick said that I would like one of my financial investors to to hear this. So he did, and when we got to that point, he called us one day, and to make a long story short, he offers a contract, a recording contract, and then that's when we went in. As Winston was speaking about Whammo, there was at the time, it was very hard to get airplay on Whammo because they would put you on the local hour. You know, there was an hour that they featured local acts. I think on the weekends or at night. They said this was local by so-and-so, and it was a big thing to hear yourself on the radio. So we had so much of an impact. I think who broke our record for us was Jackie Johnson. She used to say, "I like that record."
I like that.
Yeah. So at the time, there was a time we had to think of something that to get into Whammo. It was hard because everybody had a record that is good. You know, we felt our record was good too. So
And at that time, Whammo was the #1 radio
yeah,
station.
Yeah, well,
they was and also see they had the Sheraton Broadcasting System,
Right.
And the Sheraton Broadcasting System, they had owned and operated a lot of other different stations and also syndicated stations as well. Used to go through that, and you know, Winston was talking about Cocoa Beach, Florida, WFO, and there was another station, and then there was affiliation that our friend Ron Hill had. There was someone WIZZ in Harrisburg. Okay, that was up there. There was a station that picked us up too. So when Whammo, we said we tried to get that record played, and at the time I was like, how can we get this record? How can we get more? Ernie went down there. They just didn't want to hear no more like local records. But we knew this record was special. We knew there was something about it, because before it went out, we used to sing it around the house, and people, my mother used to hum that, "I wanna talk to you, I wanna." She used to love it, you know, and so we figured out, and we made this little suggestion. We had a friend of mine named Rosie Jones at the time. You know, she had to dress up, and she put this fur coat on, and she took the 45s, and she put them underneath her, to say that, underneath her fur coat. You know, she taped them to her fur coat, and we gave a champagne bottle. And she went down there. I think Whammo was on the Boulevard, the LS, at the time. And she went in there, knocked the door, they let her in, and she said she had a special delivery for Jackie Johnson.
Okay.
Okay, and they didn't so no, and they seen this nice looking young lady dressed all up in this fur coat. She had a champagne bottle all tied up. So when she went up there, I think Del King was there, you know, Del King was there, and Master G, you know, he was in there. And so when they came in there, so Jackie said, "Can I help you?" She came out. She was on the
John
air.
Anthony too.
Yeah, John Anthony. They was all there, you know, Brother Matt. But it was on Jackie Johnson's airtime. And when she went up the steps, she opened her jacket and said, "Can you play my record?" And, you know, and sorry, Rose. But she said, "Can you play my record?" So, and Jackie thought it was so cute, and everything was together. And I think that's how it went, because, you know, she was telling us when she got back, she said, "I think I got the earplay, and they're going to play the record," you know. So we was like, wow. So went back, and we was listening, waiting, nothing. And I know she was getting ready to go off the air at 7 o'clock or whatever. She was getting ready. Just before, she said, "This is a brand new record by the group Chaz, and they call this 'I Want to Talk to You.'" And it came on, and you couldn't hear it. Then we heard them bells, ding, 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 ding. And man, it was like almost like the 5 heartbeats. I jumped up, and I was like, "Our record's on the radio. Our record's on the radio." And that was history from there. From that point, it was it got played, and then it went over well. We got some callers that called in and said, "I like that record." And she said, "I like this record." Then she played it again. The third time she played it, she started getting all these requests, and they didn't think, they thought it was our family members just call. It was hundreds of people calling in. And I said, "Well, wait a minute, I don't have that many family around here calling at the same time." So we got together with the record company and Whammo, because, you know, at the time they called and said, "Can we handle it?" Because they had to put it in the stores. So they started pressing up.
The record sold out all at National
We
Record
sold
Market.
10,000 45s.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
And we was up there with the charts with the Time, and all Time was selling 12,000, 13,000, around there, we was 10,000.
Yeah.
So they had sold a lot of 45s, and that's what gave them the idea. So we had to do the album. We had to get this out there, and it opened up doors.
Even this day, that
Yeah.
their single is selling overseas. And
Oh,
stuff like that.
okay.
If you
Yeah.
look up, you can see. I said, oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our record's selling overseas.
Yeah.
Me and my brother said, okay, well, we need to find out what's going on.
Yeah. And the record, it was so much of an impact. We didn't think so. Daryl King said, "Hey man, this record's hot." He used to do all of Steubenville, Washington, PA, Uniontown, and he called us and say,
The DJs were celebrities themselves.
Yeah,
at the
they
time.
was-
You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah,
You
they
figure
were.
like Dale,
Yeah,
they
Jackie
were,
Johnson,
yeah.
even you know.
Yeah, like Porky Chetwood
Porky,
and all them
you know,
DJs.
you know,
Yeah, they were. You were right.
You know
They
what?
were
You know,
celebrities.
Porky was one of
Yeah.
the ones that played our record too, but it didn't have it because I remember he went on and played it on the AM station. You know,
Yeah.
Okay.
and he said, you know, but it said, oh, okay. But it didn't have that same effect until it hit that FM station. You know what I mean?
Right.
and
When
it
it
took
hit-
off, man.
And when it, hit that, it took off.
Well, who actually was on that record? Who actually played on that record?
We all did, all of us.
Well, it was on that record. Particular song was just me, my brother,
Eddie.
my uncle Eddie,
Eddie on bass.
and Francis Rose on
Rose,
keyboard.
Oh, Francis Rose was on
Right,
that.
that's the bells you hear. Ding,
Okay.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
That's Francis
I always
Rose.
wondered who was.
And
the
it was
players
all
on
live. It was nothing. We didn't have drum machines.
You didn't overdub.
We didn't have help.
Just went
No.
on and did it.
Francis used to do all our recording with us. He used to
Yeah.
do
Okay.
we if we went to Jerry's New Brighton, Francis
Yeah,
was with
Francis
us.
is-
Every,
yeah.
You know, people used to say, "Man, how you get Francis to play with y'all all the time? I can't get him to come out the house."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everybody
Yeah.
tried to get Francis.
Yeah.
We practiced there, and Uncle Buddy, we used to call him Uncle Buddy. His Buddy,
His uncle.
His uncle,
Buddy,
yeah.
we used to practice at his
you know
house.
every musician that came through there. That's where we used to practice at. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had a good time. And that album, the record took off, and Del King said, "Hey, I want you guys to come out and sign some autographs." And we was like, "Man, autograph?" You know, we were all shy. Autograph. We didn't know the impact it had.
Yeah.
Even our crew, our road crew, we had to put roadies together. We used to have our Chaz gear and jackets. Our road crew used to go out, and they'd go at McDonald's, you know, because remember, you know, we was a lot younger then. They go into McDonald's, and they go in there, "You guys, the Chaz band," and they were signing autographs. My cousin Albert and Billy Mayfield and Mike, Big Mike, I call him football head Mike. You know, they would carry our equipment and set up. So they would go in there, and they had all the Chaz outfits on. You know, they had black and the red, and the Chaz is it on the back. And they would go and get free food. And time we get there,
Yeah.
they said,
Who are you?
well, yeah, they like,
Yeah.
we did
So
sign
we
with
just
Chaz.
seen
No.
Chaz.
So, you know, they got theirs in. But make a long story short, we used to go to Uniontown, and my brother would tell you, we would go, we didn't know the impact. When we was out in Uniontown, and Del King used to say, "We got the Chaz, a special guest in the house." We come in with a long line. People had 45s, and we were signing our records and signing. And then, I mean, it was
How did
crazy.
that make y'all feel, man?
It made you feel good because you know
Yeah.
even from time to time we run into Dale King, and you know,
Yeah.
and we see him. We always, you know, we bring it up. You know,
Yeah, relive the
Boy, did we
moment.
have a good
Yeah,
time.
we lived
Yeah.
the moment.
Yeah.
You know, we had a good time, but it was fun.
Yeah.
You know,
And we released singles off of that, too. Tell Me Your Name.
Tell Me Your Name, Tell Mommy, Let Me Be Your One was an album
Cut. Yeah. Then we released the long version of I Want to Talk to You.
Right.
And the DJs, you know, used to come on and Lee Woodruff used to play, and they would say, "Why did they play the long version?" Because mostly, I think it's only 3 minutes you get airtime. We had 5, 6 minutes on that time.
Okay.
And it was later on in life I learned that when they had to go to the bathroom, they would put the long version on.
Yeah, we put they did the album cut, which
You know,
Right.
which
So that was
made
cool.
a change because people like, oh, we didn't hear that on the 45. You know what I mean? Because they said, oh, this is so. It opened up to say, okay, we got to get the album now because that's on the album.
Yeah.
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 And then we had some influence. We had a song called, You're
Let's-
Loving and
Let's Do It.
Let's Do It. Yeah, and we featured, we only had featured one female singer, was a friend of ours, Veronica Robinson, right?
Yeah, Veronica
At the time.
sang on it. And she
Yeah.
did very well for it.
yeah.
And that was great.
Yeah.
You know, God bless her. You know, Veronica, she came out and did her thing with us. She was a singer at the time with us back then. I'm talking about with other past groups, but the album had an impact so much that we was at, you remember Heaven. We was
yeah.
down Heaven on
Downtown.
a Tuesday night, and we was playing Heaven, and we was featuring Whammer feature us up there as one of the midnight showcase, and we was playing and the power went out, and we said what we couldn't find out, and found out what happened. Couldn't find right in the middle of the song. I want to talk to you. The power went out, and then everybody in the audience, it was sold out that night, started singing the song. They finished the whole song for
Yeah.
us. And we just standing on stage just looking at,
Yeah.
they sang the whole song,
Knew
and then
it
after
word
that
for
they
word.
started clapping, and
Yeah.
we knew right then and there. Nick said, we got a hit.
Yep.
We got a hit on our hands, and we had to do something about it. So Whammo realized that too. Some of the, I think Glenn, I don't know if it was Glenn Mahone or Davenport was there, but they realized that, and the DJs, and they got behind us, and they started booking us on all their major events through the city. Everything major that Whammo had. I'm talking about the Stanley. Then Rich Engler got involved with us. A guy named Eddie Travisari started getting involved when they started booking us on. Then we started opening up acts in different cities, and we started playing, featuring with Funkadelic Parliament,
George Clinton.
the Clinton, the Funkadelic Parliament. We did God rest his soul, Levert. Casanova, and,
okay.
and all them, and we started doing LeVert. We did the Roger Troutman. We did Rebbie Jackson. We did. Then we go on. We started doing. Oh man, so many.
Yeah.
We kept going. Then we was up in Harrisburg, feature at the Galaxy. There was a place they feature us up there. We went up there, had the life of the life. I mean everything. You know, road crew, trucks, and
Yeah.
Ron Hill became like he was a backstage manager at the time at the Stanley. So he started helping us out on the road, and we got a chance, and I wanted the album to get bigger. So, because Ernie and them at the time from Zanzibar, Ernie and Nick, that was their people, they only could handle it so far. So I took the album, and Ron introduced me to Tommy Boy from up in New York. And I went up to Tommy Boy, Tom Solomon. And I went up there, and I met from there, when I was there, he listened to the album. He said, I'm more of a hip hop, but I like the record. But I'm a hip hop artist. And at the time, he had Force MDs and some other, most of the group. And I was sitting there, and there was a group called Force MDs was singing. Before they became Force MDs, they was in the back room singing TC. And he came out, and Winston used to sing all the high parts like Maurice White. Philip Bailey.
Right.
And he came, he said, because he sings Tears, Tears.
Right.
And he was listening to Winston singing Let Me Be the One. He was like, man, what's that? I said, that's my brother. He said, I like that song. And he was like listening, we was talking. So Tom came out and said, hey, this is what I'll do for you guys. I want to sign you guys on a talent development contract. He said, well, I said, talent development? I didn't know. I said, what is that? He said, well, it's not our style of music, but you guys got enough talent I can hear. I want to develop something that I feel that can create you guys and put you out there the way on a national level. He said, because I'm more of a hip hop. So he tried to combine our style with a hip hop.
Right.
And Ron said, no, you can't have it. So Hush Production was around the corner. So Ron said, we're going to go to Hush. So we went over there, Hush, and a girl named was working over there. And I think at the time they had Freddie Jackson and they had Melvin Moore and some other people there. So they were sitting there, and Melvin was there at the time too. And Ron put the record on, and they were sitting there listening to it. They said, oh, they got like an Earth, Wind, and Fire feel. They were trying to find us something, but they said it's unique. It got its own sound. So she was listening. He said, well, I like to hold on to us. He said, I might know somebody that like you guys. So at the time, Ron Hill was working for Sylvia Robinson for Sugar Hill.
Right.
Okay, so we left there, and he said he'll make a decision the next week if he want to do something, because Hush Production was known for singers. They had a lot of singers. So we ended up going over to Sugar Hill, and I called my brother. I said, man, I'm over here at Sugar Hill, and Miss Robinson was there. So Miss Robinson was listening, and I end up, when I was there, Sequence was in there, Big, and all the guys, they was coming up with their Cadillacs and the Mercedes, and Joey Robinson was all coming, and I got a chance to meet them, and through Ron Hill, and he was working there because he was proud of the production work and what we did.
Right.
So we went up there and they was listening to it. So Sylvia said, yeah, I like this. I like to do something with you guys. And she said, just let me hold on. Just let me hold on. Hold on to this product. And She said, let my son Joey listen to it. And she said, I'll get back to you guys. So I said, okay. So I ended up coming back to Pittsburgh, and I was telling my brother. So Nick Cincy, he didn't want to let the album go because they had the rights to it. They owned the publishing and everything.
Yeah.
And we didn't know about publishing
Right.
then. And we signed over. We just couldn't take the product and give it to them, although it was our songs. And my brother wrote the song, you know, and I wrote music. And we just couldn't say, okay, you guys can take the product because they invest in it. So we tried to get it to work out. It just didn't work out at the time. So, you know, and
Yeah, because they own the master.
they own the masters.
Right, right. So,
So-
live and learn, right?
Yeah. And then my brother started going off. He got a call. He started working with some, at the time, we was a little frustrated because we wanted some of the major artists to pick it up. And so Winston started working on his own, and I started working on some things too. And I ended up signing and with the Chaz. We ended up signing with Sylvia, and she got another label called Bonami. And I ended up signing, we ended up signing the contract with that, but she sat on it and she didn't do anything. She sat on the project.
Yeah.
And we had to get released when Nick sent over there and got us released off the record because little that we knew, she was going through a bankruptcy
Okay.
with MCA.
Yeah.
So, and at the time I was there signed, there was a group called New Style, and she had them signed, Chaz and Danielle Vassar, who I brought her up with, and she was there. She ended up was signing the Grammy, and an Italian rapper called Ronnie DiCicco. You know, he was trying to be the next like Vanilla Ice, this white rapper doing this thing.
Right.
So to make a long story short, we ended up having that deal, you know, just sitting there waiting on what's going on, and we wanted our music back. But we're glad we didn't sign because the groups that she signed, she ended up filing bankruptcy on all of them, and then she held their music. But the group New Style ended up going over to Tommy Boy, and they called Naughty by Nature.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's when they got out and we got out, but we just couldn't do it. So we came back and we started something new,
Right.
you know, and we ended up getting caught up in, just like they say, the record business.
Yeah.
Our name kept being floating around. We was sitting here, couldn't do anything. And we had to sit in Pittsburgh. We couldn't do nothing. It was getting frustrated.
It did get frustrating because
Yeah.
it took me a while. I call myself now a reborn musician because for a while I stopped playing.
Okay.
If everybody didn't know, I just like, okay,
Yeah.
I stopped playing. I started doing other things. It took me years later to get back into it. At the time, I was working at the University of Pittsburgh in the music department. And I used to see all these kids coming in there with the guitar. And it was a guitar class. They took a lot of classes, that, taking. And they asked, I said, wow, look at all these guys coming in with these guitars. And at the time, Joe Negri, he was teaching in there. So I got a chance. I met Joe, and I started, after Joe, they talked to me, and I said, I met and Dr. Nathan Davis. He was there.
Right.
So I was talking to them, and then all of a sudden, man, I started, I'm watching these guys bringing these guitars. I said, well, I'm going to go out and buy me a new guitar. So I bought me a guitar. Then I used to bring my guitar in to work with me every day and practice. And so one day, Dr. Nathan Davis, he said, Wentz, why don't you come on and do some gigs with me? Come on, man, you playing pretty good there. So I said, what? So Joe Negri used to say, he's teaching students, and then he said, hey, Wentz, can you come here for a minute? Show him how you do this, because I used to do the octaves and stuff. And he said, Joe used to get me to show some of his students some things. And then I said, oh, okay. So then Dr. Davis said, I want you to do some gigs with me. So I went out, I said, okay. I was skeptical because I didn't have my confidence.
Right.
I could play, but I didn't have my confidence in playing. So I went off and did some jazz gigs up Seven Springs and the other areas with him. Then I went with him when he the Mellon Jazz Festival with Lou Rawls.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. So I found a love for it again.
Yeah.
That's why I say I'm reborn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
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 you know,
rejuvenated.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Well, I know one thing, man. You guys have been working with some other artists like Norman Connors. You got a new CD out. When we come back, can you tell us about that?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. We're here with Carter Carter.
Grandora Records present the new CD, Brother to Brother, featuring Carter Carter, the smooth sound of I'm yours. Can I take you there? And day and night.
Come on. All right. Where are the ladies at in the house? Ladies, I want y'all to repeat after me. I want y'all to say what I said. See if we can get this thing right here. All right, bring it out. Ladies, I want y'all to say, I say mind blowing, you say. Come on. Mind blowing, you say this is decisions. Come on. Mind blowing, you say decisions. All right, now you got it now. Mind blowing, you say. Wait a minute now. Bring it down, Joe. I can't hear you. All these ladies up in here tonight. Are y'all feeling the groove right now? Let me hear you say yes. Well, all right. Come on now, ladies. Come on, one more time now. Come on. I'm gonna say, mind blowing, you say. Come on, ladies. Mind blowing, you say. All right, now, come on. Mind blowing, you say. Oh yeah, come on now. Mind blowing, you say. Oh, let me hear you say mine. Say mine, mine, mine. Say mine. Say mine, mine, mine. Say blow it. Say blow it. Say blow it. Oh yeah, yeah, sing big round of applause, y'all. Come on, check it out now. Come on, check it. Decisions. Y'all got that? Yeah, Robert. My evil family in the back. John. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, let me hear it. Mind blowing. Louder. Decisions. Mind blowing. Decisions. Come on, fellas. Mind blowing. Decisions. Mind blowing. Bring it down. Decisions. Hit, hit. I hear y'all. Come on. Come on, fellas. A little louder. A little louder. Yeah. I want over here. Come on, fellas. Good. Come on. Decisions. Say it like you want something now. Come on. Mind blowing. Decision, mind blowing decision. That's right. 1, 2, yeah. 1, 2. Oh yeah. Let's give the fellas a hand, ladies. Come on now. Yeah, all right. We're gonna take a small pause for the cause, but we're gonna be right back in. We're gonna take a 20-minute break and don't go down.
Hi, my name is Timmy Willis, and we're here with the very exciting national recording artist, Carter Carter. Before we went to the break, we're talking about some of the other artists that you've had the privilege of working with, like Norman Connors, and you have an exciting new CD out. Would you tell us about that?
Well, the first album we had Forever, but going back to Norman Connors, we met Norman Connors at Dow's.
Right.
He was playing. We had a band called what was the name of the band?
Midtown.
Midtown, right? Midtown. That was it. And then it was just, 3 or 4 of us. I said it was 2 keyboard players, myself, and my brother Winston.
Yeah, we had Francis
Yeah,
Rose
Francis
and Al
and
Everson.
Al Everson.
We had 2 key. We didn't even have a bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they used to do a great job. And that's how we were open playing, and and Norman heard us play.
Yeah.
And Norman said, "Oh, I'd like to do something with them guys."
Yeah.
So
We met, he gave us a card. He wanted us to, we actually auditioned for him at Dow's. And
Okay.
he was there. I think, is that the show we opened up for my man Xylophones?
Roy Ayers.
Roy Ayers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Roy Ayers. We was the opening act for Roy
Okay.
Ayers. And Roy Ayers came up to us after we was done, and he asked me for a card. He said, and he said, "Hey, can I have your card?" He said, "Man, you guys, was hot. I like to open up some shows for." And Norman Connor came over and said, "Well, give me a card. I want to record you guys."
Yeah.
And I went back and told my brother Norman wanted to record us. And at the time we was working, and we just heard so many things before in our past. We just said, "Okay, yeah, right."
Right.
We wasn't getting all excited about anything.
And eventually, what happened was, we sat down and worked out some things, and next thing you know, we flying out to California.
Yeah.
And we back out in L.A., me, my brother, and I. And here we go.
So your brother with you this time?
Yeah.
We were together. Yeah, we went out.
So Norman and we went in the studio and start recording. The top studios you can be in the country.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Top engineers. Norman introduced us to a lot of people that we were friends today.
Yeah.
That allow us to in the industry. Norman, he said that he recognized it. He said, "Man," and he told me that I remind him. That I remind him of someone else that he knew.
Okay.
And he said my brother, he was comparing him to George Benson and Norman Brown. He discovered Norman Brown.
Okay.
So he said, "You remind me of myself too," because he used to play drums.
Right, right.
He said ambitious, and he just
And
picked that up and just went with us.
And eventually we started going out touring with Norman.
Okay.
We did a lot of shows with Norman, and from this day, even at times now, we still go out and do
Some shows with
shows with Norman.
Yeah.
And we got even after that, then we said, okay, that was our Brother to Brother Forever album.
Okay.
So there was other groups called Brother to Brother and stuff. So we decided we still say Brother to Brother, featuring Carter Carter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you see me got Brother to Brother hat
I
on.
got the
He got Carter Carter.
Yeah.
That's right. And there's something special about these hats too.
Yeah.
Yeah, these hats is a whole different thing. But it was special. When we was with Norman, not only that we got a chance to meet so many great people. I met, Herman Jackson, great arranger of music. I met, Tim Alexander through Lisa DeVoe. These people that work in the industry, in the movie industry, I got a chance to meet a lot of different celebrities.
Right.
My brother as well, he was hanging with Vesta before she passed away. We was out there doing it, and we just not just out there rubbing arms. We got a chance to sit down and break bread with these people in their houses.
We got a chance to see some of our friends,
Yeah.
Crystal and Penny and
Shawnee's
Shawnee's
Wilson.
out there, and we got a chance to see them, and they came and visited us, and they showed us a great time.
Yeah.
Now tell us about the new CD.
Oh, wow, we're excited about it. We're really excited about it. And it was, again, Norman, how we came about that CD is that, the Forever album was a great album. You have it. You love the CD, you said.
Yeah.
You listened to it. That album went into bankruptcy,
Okay.
you see. And we end up, coming back. But Norman, we ended up getting another album, got a chance to do. That's the Carter Carter Project.
Okay.
And that was Norman. We was in the studio, Westlake Studio, and he was working on his project, and we met this guy named Chuck Simone. And Simone produced everybody. I mean, he's on the charts. I mean, he's been playing. Great producer. And we got a chance to get with him. And we left out of Norman's studio in LA and we went somewhere to his studio.
Okay.
And he was playing during Norman's session.
Yeah.
Oh, you hear that, Norman? But during his session, and he drove us up on somewhere in Hollywood, and we was up there, and he said, look, I got some songs. He said, I can put it, but it was not the songs we was working on now. He was just showing us, and he liked it. He said, man, I can take you guys to another level.
Okay.
And we ended up meeting Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how we came up. Can I take you there?
Can I take you there?
Yeah.
See, because it was always, let me take you there, let me take you here.
Right.
So it came up with that. We're excited
First,
about
we
it.
start off with, I want to talk to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we at the end, can we take you there?
Can we take you there? That's right.
I love it.
Yeah, and we had, and this album was some of the musicians and some of the people that was involved in the recording. We were just, it was done so professional, and it just gave us our light back. We got a light, it's shining, and
Yeah.
I got a good feeling with the CD, and it's just nice, good urban AC type music, and it just got a good feeling. I'm just proud to be on it and just thank God to have a second chance for this, this project.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Winston. Is there anything you haven't done that you still would like to do?
Yeah. Jump out of a plane.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Paratrooper?
No. I mean, no, not really. My brother would tell you that I'm the type of person I don't like fly. I don't like to fly.
Oh,
We used to fly a lot. Every time we take off, I put a blanket over my head because I don't like to fly. I didn't like to fly,
Yeah.
but I got used to it. But if a lot of things I have done, there's not too much that I'm interested in doing right now, but focusing on this here CD. Say, okay, let's hear, because we put so much into it. So we say, okay, now is. Let's let it go and see and let it do something for us now.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys that want to take it. I'm talking about marketing companies that want to put it out and let's sign it over to them. But we want to own our own.
Exactly.
Yeah, we want to own.
You learn. You
Yeah,
learn.
we
what
learned.
learned.
Yeah, we learned.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
you can look on, and if you can Google Chaz and things, you can see our records on the charts over there, and they selling them,
Yeah.
but we're not getting paid.
No money.
No money.
Our songs, we wrote them. No
wrote 'em
money.
here.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it just giving us opportunity. We learned. We had to go put the homework in, learn the music industry, know the industry, know your rights, know your entitlement. So you have to have that, and you're entitled to your songs. You wrote your songs, own your own publishing, learn the music industry. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, and you just do it because of the love, which we all do, you'll find yourself sitting at the same seat where you started from, and everybody else enjoying your creation.
Right.
Right.
So all I'm saying is just
know,
learn, educate yourself.
I heard
and
on
do
the
it yourself.
radio today on Tom Joyner's show, they were talking about, I'm not Tom Joyner, it was another show out of Cleveland. They were talking about the Jackson 5 at the top of their career as the Jackson, when they was Motown, that each member was only making $300-something a week
Wow.
at the top of their career. And they said, well, that's when Joe Jackson said, well, we're going to get these, when he decided to leave Motown and go with Epic. I mean, Philadelphia International up there. And that's when they said, finally, they started making some money. Now we want to make some money.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Chaz? Is there anything you haven't done that you still would like to do?
It's I do not regret anything. As far as I'm concerned, we started in this business so young. We've seen so many generations of music, people living and people have passed on, that we've been in the top of the top. You couldn't imagine some of the places that we have played and been in our homes.
You remember the movies, in the Michael Jackson movie where Michael was the movie where the stripper was going down the stairs, and Jackie said, "Go ahead, Mike." You know,
Right.
Yeah.
where the stripper was. We experienced that same thing because Chucky
Well,
was
my
little. He used to
brother,
hear, and the strippers used to come in and strip, and we used to like. I was like, "Go ahead, you go ahead and see."
I would hide behind the beer bottles because the liquor patrol man would come in. And then they open the door, and I'm in a room with all these strippers over here. So, you know, and I didn't know. It was all kind
Because
of crazy stuff.
after we perform, the strippers come on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it was. We experienced all that, and, you know. And what I'm saying to you, there's nothing that we have received. Yeah, we did get paid. We did pretty good. We had, you know, we had our boats and our moments at our time that we enjoyed our lives, and I can't say that. Actually, we lived that we call celebrities. I said stars is only in the sky. We was here, and people didn't know the magnitude that we was living at the same time, but we never wanted to give up our jobs or anything that we was doing outside of the music because we was insecure, because we know all the rackets that go on behind scenes with the music, and we had family. So there's nothing that I regret saying that I didn't see and do and experience in this industry. I just thank God for giving us another opportunity in 2016 to have this energy and the stamina to still play this music and have a love for it. So we're getting a second chance. The album's called Can I Take You There by Carter Carter. You know, so I want you guys to go out and support and try so we can get out there and bring all this love and beautiful music back to you.
That's right.
Well, I know I sure
And I'm glad to
appreciate
be
it.
here, Tim,
Yeah,
and giving us opportunity to tell our story, because there's so much to tell, you know.
I feel we just getting started.
We just getting started. There's so much we just cut through. So
Yeah.
Why you keep jacking my name up, though?
Oh, you know what?
Timmy,
He jack my name up all day.
Timmy, I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know it's been a pleasure being here with these two very talented national recording artists who are our own, who went and took the national recording took the whole world on, actually, because their music is still playing not only in the United States but in other parts of the world. And so, like he said, they got a new CD out. You know, it'd be nice if you would get online and support. And if you ever see them performing somewhere, I guarantee if you show up, you're in for a treat. So until next time, stick and stay, don't go away, make somebody happy, make somebody strong.
You are about to experience the sound of Carter Carter. It's about to be on and cracking. Enjoy.
How you doing? That's good. Come closer. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, can I take you there? All right. No doubt. Just listen. Yeah. Can I take you there? Can I take you there? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Can I take you there? Just to come. Take you there. I want you by my side. Yeah. Can I take you there? Take you there. Take you there. Can I take you there? Come on, take you